Yes, I'd like to ask y'all a hard question. You see politicians come and go. Even our number one, a lot of our senators, House leaders, but there is a lot of them that's been in there for decades. So the hard question is, let's say the number one of our country and a few of the senators, House leaders, whoever you want to say, they come to terms that we should start killing every third born. Do we as a society, and especially those that are in law enforcement and our military, follow that federal ruling that we start killing every third born? Would that be a hard question to answer? Well, every single one of our politicians, and probably pretty much the majority of law enforcement and military, they swear oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States against foreign and domestic threats. That is the military's objective, plain and simple. Over the decades, we've seen our Constitution constantly be under threat by what I consider no more than tyrants within our government. You cannot take an oath on the Bible that you're going to uphold the Constitution of the United States and then try to destroy it. That is not how this country was set up to be. And for every 4 to 8 years, we have new leaders come into power and sit there and try to tear down the next or previous administration. Whether it was good or bad, I can understand changing things that are bad. But just because of a philosophy that you feel you don't like the last administration, you're going to do everything in your power to destroy anything that was even good, is ludicrous. To think that we've been hacked with a pipeline and now our food industry, and day one they open up the border and destroy the Keystone Pipeline. The first time we were energy independent in how many decades in our country? Makes perfect logic, doesn't it? That we're going to enact a new energy ultimatum for the American people before we ever have that energy into place. That makes perfect sense too, doesn't it? Freaking ridiculous. If we want electric cars, start producing them. Start building the infrastructure. Don't sit there and snap your fingers and by what I feel is no more than forced compliance. You see governments all over the world, they will control their constituents by what I say is forced compliance. But anyway, that's, my 2 cents. It just, things in this country right now just seems out of kilt. When Clinton come along with the free trade agreement, I knew back then and told a lot of people this was going to be a disaster, and people laughed at me. But we basically and I understand we have a free enterprise here in America, but we allowed the elite, the CEOs of all these corporations to just sell out the American worker. In my eyes, any free trade agreement, if you wanted to start producing your product in another country, the pandemic should have made that perfectly clear. There should not even be another question about that. Any company, American company, that wants to do their business elsewhere so they can enjoy more of a profit, whatever that item is, if it is a necessity here in America, whatever the product is, that a certain percentage, and only the people with more brains than what I've got, but a certain percentage of that product would be made here in America by American workers and American-based companies. And whatever percentage could be made in other countries, just in case we had something like a pandemic come around again, we would still be making a percentage of the necessities that America needs to remain sovereign and secure. That sounds logical to me. But I don't understand how, for centuries now, we've been fighting to finally own up and allow every person their constitutional rights, that we are all created equal and we all will be judged equally under the law. Yet we still can't achieve that. If you read the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, it's not hard to understand that. Why can't our politicians understand this stuff? You know, we constantly, because of a few bad actors, are looking at our Constitution and everything, and we want to take away the rights of good people because of a few bad people. People, do your history. Anywhere across this world, you are going to find evil. That's just the way it is. The human race, there is going to be evil within the peoples across this world. And people have got to understand, to confront evil and win, you have always got to have at least equal or greater force than what evil is bringing to you. And let's hope that we always have more good than evil, because as a human race, we would be doomed if we don't have more good. So anyway, God bless America, and in God we trust. And I'm a firm believer you do everything possible in your power to do whatever it takes to try to own up to the Ten Commandments. And in the end, when you've tried everything and you have no other options to take to protect yourself or a loved one, or even society in general, let the gun be the judge and jury. There ain't much more can be said than that. But make sure you do everything humanly possible not to let the gun become judge and jury. But if it does, and there was no other choice, so be it. But anyway, people, peace. God bless America. And let's hit the road and see some beautiful things that America's got to show. So drive safe, be smart, and try to always make sure you're prepared for all kind of things. Peace.